Hey guys, it's Brody, and I'm going to show you how to cube rotate less, which will make your solves easier, more fluid, and much faster. If you're new to my channel, make sure to join the Brody Bunch by subscribing and clicking the bell icon so you'll see all of my future tutorials. There are some pretty amazing tricks in this video, so make sure to watch the whole thing. Let's get started. So out of the 4 steps of CFOP, which are cross, F2L, OLL, and PLL, it's easy to get rid of cube rotations in cross, OLL, and PLL, and harder to get rid of them in F2L. Let's go over the first 3, and then go into more detail about F2L. So for cross, there are 2 things that you can do to get rid of all of your cube rotations. Make sure to always plan your entire cross in inspection, and tell yourself to never cube rotate during cross. Planning your cross in inspection means that you'll never get lost and have to cube rotate to look for your cross pieces. Also, once you know what you're doing, your cross solution should be short and efficient, so doing some F or B moves instead of rotating to do R or L moves isn't a problem. But being able to plan your entire cross means that you can choose a better angle to do your cross from that makes it easier. For example, instead of holding it from this angle and doing F2 B prime R to solve cross, you could start with green in front and do L2 R prime F instead. If you're having trouble planning your entire cross in inspection, a good way to practice is to plan your entire cross and then try to execute it blindfolded. I went into more detail about this in a separate video, which you can watch by going to the link in the description. Also, if you want more examples of some good cross solutions, I have a video with some cross examples, which you can go to by clicking the card in the top right corner. For OLL and PLL, there is only one reason you should ever cube rotate, and that's if your algorithm has a cube rotation in it. Otherwise, there is no need to rotate. For both OLL and PLL, you should do U moves to correctly set up the algorithm and then do it instead of rotating to the right position. And for PLL, instead of lining up the PLL so there's no AUF, cube rotating, and then doing it, you should line up the PLL with U moves, then do the alg, then AUF. If you're doing it any other way, you're losing a lot of time that could be easily saved. So that's how you get rid of cube rotations during cross, OLL, and PLL, but what about F2L? Like I said earlier, that's a bit more difficult, but because F2L is the biggest step in the solve, it's also super important. The reasons that people cube rotate for F2L are really similar to why people cube rotate during cross. Either they don't know what to do and they're cube rotating to look for pieces, or they know what they're doing, but they think that they need a cube rotation to solve the pair, which may or may not be true. These are each really important issues to fix, and I'll be going over each separately. Cube rotating to look for pieces is super common, especially for beginners, and it's an easy habit to get into. It's easy to take a quick glance at the cube and not see anything, and then to decide to rotate to get a different perspective. While that doesn't sound too bad, it can lead to having your solves look like this. The key to fixing this is to change that mentality. There are other ways to get a new perspective that don't involve cube rotating. If you really need to, you can do some U moves to see what's going on with your pieces, but that can turn into a bad habit as well. The best thing to do is train yourself to not do anything to look for pieces. Here's how you can do that. First, give yourself a hand scramble. You're not going to be timing yourself here, so it doesn't have to be a real scramble. Next, do your cross. Once you're done with that, wait and don't do anything. No moves, and especially no cube rotations until you've spotted the pair you're going to do. Then you do your pair and repeat the process. Do this for as many solves as you want, and then eventually try doing this in time solves. This might make it seem like you're pausing a lot to look for pieces, but don't worry about it. As you get better at finding pieces quickly and eventually start looking ahead, those pauses will get shorter and shorter, and eventually they'll go away entirely. Dealing with the second issue is a little bit more complicated. What you need to do is know which cases you do and don't need to cube rotate for, and that can be tricky. You could just learn all of them on a case-by-case basis, but that's not fun for me to teach or for you to learn. There is one trick that is extremely useful for this though, and that's what I'm going to show you. How to tell if you can solve an F2L case without cube rotating. Here's the trick. Look at the edge of the F2L pair that you want to solve. If the color on the side of that pair matches the color of one of the centers on the left or the right, then the edge is oriented, which means that you 100% definitely can solve that pair without cube rotating. It's that simple. Okay, it's not really that simple, but what I said is completely right. If the edge does that, then you don't need to rotate. But there are cases where the edge doesn't follow that rule, where you still don't need to cube rotate. It just means that you'll need to use F moves, wide R moves, M moves, or something like that. In some cases, that means you'll connect a pair like normal and then insert it with F moves or with a fancy insert in the back. And in some cases, it'll be more complicated. This part is completely a case-by-case basis, but one great way to learn this kind of thing is to watch walkthrough solves and advanced F2L videos. I've got a link to my walkthrough solves playlist in the description, and you can watch my advanced F2L video by clicking on the card. So earlier I was talking about the trick to tell when you don't need to rotate. Some of the good rotationless solutions are really counterintuitive, so here are some of the most important ones. In an F2L case like this, instead of cube rotating, lining up your pair, then rotating back and inserting, you could do something like this. Or something like this. For a case like this, instead of rotating, lining up the pair, and then inserting, you can do this. Or you could even do something like this. And for this pair, instead of rotating and solving like this, you can do this instead. There are many more, but again, you can figure those out on your own or by watching walkthrough solves. Okay, just a few more things to go over that have to do with cube rotations. Despite what a lot of people in the comments may think, wide D moves are not a good substitute for cube rotations. If you have to cube rotate, which sometimes you just have to, just do it. Doing wide D moves means that you have to regrip, do your move, and then regrip back, which is a lot slower. Another important thing to note is that in order to get rid of cube rotations in your solves, you need to be comfortable with solving pairs into the back. Something I see all the time online is a beginner solver doing a Y2 to avoid doing certain cases in the back. You never have to do this. In fact, you should never do Y2 rotations in the first place because they're even slower than regular rotations and they don't affect the orientation of your edges at all. Also, your F2L doesn't have to be rotationless. Doing completely rotationless F2L is actually really inefficient, so if you want to not cube rotate at all, learn Ru or ZZ instead. And one last thing, there are some specific cases where it might be better to cube rotate even when you don't have to. These cases usually come up for doing EO or for winter variation or something like that. I'll let you figure those out on your own since they're very uncommon, but I'll show you this one. Instead of solving your pair from this angle and then just inserting like that, if I cube rotate, then I can connect them and then solve my edges as well. So using everything I've taught you in this video, you should be able to drastically cut down on the number of cube rotations in your solves. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon and help me get to 10,000 subscribers. You can also leave a like and share this video with a friend of yours who cube rotates way too much. We all have one. I've got links to my Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and Discord in the description, so you can also check out those if you want. I'll see you guys later, and I hope you have a fantastic day. This is Brody, signing out.